Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome to the Moana Nui podcast. Tonight we have a very special episode, a special panel that we hope and know that you guys will all enjoy. Tonight we are talking about indie comics, the rise of Black characters. But before we get started, we have a couple announcements to make. Lots of cool projects for you all to check out on Kickstarter. The first one is called 4 Pages, 16 Bars. It's an anthology by Jiba Molay Anderson, and it features quite a few of our guests on the panel tonight. So be sure to check that out. We will drop the links in the comments as we go along. The second one is Nightfall, issue number 2 by Brian Lambert and Lawrence King. I believe that one is fully funded right now as well. The third anthology is Elsewhere by Unlikely Hero Studio, featuring Mike Watson, who is one of our guests tonight, along with a long roster of independent comic creators. Next month, March 9th to the 26th, we will be launching a Kickstarter for season 2 of the Moana Nui podcast. So if you are enjoying the content that we're putting out, we look forward to your support on that Kickstarter, and we should be dropping the preview links shortly. And then there's one more, Southside by Tony Kittrell. It's also on Kickstarter, and we hope you guys will check it out. This panel will give you a little bit of an opportunity to get to know these creators and hear about all the wonderful things that they're doing on the independent comic scene. Now, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Moana, host of the podcast, and I'm joined by my beautiful host, Dana.
Hello, everyone. I am Dana of Danique Events. I am a cosplay con and event photographer. So a lot of you know my work, both on, you can see it on IG and Facebook. So thank you for joining us, and get ready for some great conversation and content tonight.
Alrighty, so before we get started, we want to introduce you guys tonight to a special guest moderator who is going to be joining us. For those of you who don't know him, let me tell you a little bit about him. Greg Burnham is a creator, a writer, all-around awesome dude. If you do not know about Tuskegee Heirs, what rock have you been hiding under? Also, he has an amazing story called Search for Sadika, which is another great story, which has been successful on Kickstarter as well. So we're really excited to have him here on the show with us. It is an honor to have a powerhouse here on this panel. And let's bring him on. Hey, Greg.
Hey, how's it going? I am no powerhouse.
You are a powerhouse. Yes, you will claim it, and you will love it.
Yes.
Well, you guys are awesome, so it does mean a lot coming from both of you guys. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I should have raised my banner higher, but never mind that.
It's all good. Tuskegee Heirs, y'all. Tuskegee Heirs. We'll drop those in the comments as well, too. Mm-hmm. So with that said, what we'll do is we'll bring up our guests, and we will let Greg take over from here. So strap yourselves in, guys. You're about to get some great hard-hitting content tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot. Oh, we're there.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
It's like switching up. It's musical chair. Oh, they left. Wow. Like that.
I know.
I got nervous now. How y'all doing?
Good. Feel like I'm frozen.
What we're gonna do here is
feel like I'm frozen, guys. Okay.
You're not frozen unless you just stand still like this. Okay, yeah, you're good. Wait, are you good? Yeah, you're good. All right, so we're gonna roll. It's gonna be kind of informal, but one of the things I want to do is make sure we're giving everybody time, to answer, to offer your opinions, all that good stuff. And I will, I'm just gonna point to, whoever I want to answer first, and then we'll just kind of go down the road, okay? Except for we do have a lady, so she's going to get to go first. I'm sorry. So I guess let's take a couple minutes apiece. Tell people who you are and what you're working on and what makes you awesome, because everybody on here is awesome. So we need to, let the world know. So we'll start with Afua.
Well, hi guys. My name is Afua Richardson. I'm a comic book illustrator, and for the past 15 years now, I've had the opportunity to work on Marvel's Black Panther: World of Wakanda, X-Men '92, Totally Awesome Hulk, as well as All-Star Batman, Wildstorm, and more recently, Lovecraft Country, and my own book coming out this May called Aquarius, the Book of Myr.
Studio applause. Great.
And then I keep it short.
So we're just gonna move. No, I appreciate that, because hopefully we're gonna get into some good stuff tonight. So let's go to Nuri next.
How you guys doing? I'm Nuri McAdams, owner of Burning Spear Comics, comic book writer, also owner of Blunt Force Media. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't want to start rambling, so because I feel I'm pretty sure we got a lot of time on our hands, and I'll save it for then. But my main project right now is the Wildcard Chronicles. That's what I'm mainly working on. We're working on issue 3 right now.
Very
nice. All right, so we'll move up to Mr. Watson here.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Mike Watson, publisher of Short Fuse Media Group, founder of Freestyle Comics, and the self-proclaimed most enthusiastic person in comics. Currently, right now, I'm doing that thing called delivery on the Kickstarter. I just got funded, chat and draw, getting the colors, putting the book together. I'm so excited about it. It looks so good. I can't wait for y'all to get it. Amongst working on several books of Short Fuse, FSK, and the Hot Shot Trade is next up on my plate, Volume 1.
Can I just say that was a dope note? That was like so excited about it. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Introduce yourself, please.
Is that me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tony Kittrell, owner, head writer at Advent Comics, writer of titles such as Titan the Ultraman, Cosmos, The Current South Side, The Side Pocket. Also, we have a few other comics coming out in our Spirit line and our Unbound Realms line. Check us out there. We produce comics of all kinds of genre and all kinds of reader levels. We've been in the game for about 12 years, going on 13 years now, so check us out.
Cool. And I feel like I know this other guy, I think. Sir, Mr. Dedren?
What's going on, man? And good day, everyone. Yeah. My name's Dedren Snead, founder of Subsume, creator and technology platform here in Atlanta, Georgia. Professional rambler, but normally I work on this comic book called Sorgham and Spear, and also Turnkey, and a couple other things here to come. So it's a pleasure to be with y'all.
Cool. All right, and Jiba left. We're gonna hope that he comes back in. If I freeze up, man, somebody take over for me. I was having some technical difficulties earlier, so just pretend to be me. So we want to get started, and one of the things we do a lot of panels. And wait a minute, never mind. Jiba.
Yeah, I'm back.
What's your name?
What's my name?
Thank you. We're here.
Oh, it's been a minute since somebody did that. Sorry, I was late.
All right, we were just doing the introductions, and you popped back in at the perfect time because it's your turn.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so my name is Jebel Molay Anderson. I am the publisher for Griot Enterprises and the creator of its flagship title, The Horsemen, and also the curator of the 4 pages, 16 bars anthology series.
Nice. So we're gonna have a good conversation today, you guys. Y'all can throw up anything if it comes to your way. The only thing I want to do is kind of keep it organized, so everybody gets their chance to answer. I feel like we get that same question all the time. Tell us why, melanated color characters are important in comics, and why the work that we do is so important. But I feel like anybody that's watching this should already know that, right? So I like to look at things like on a deeper level. We've been bombarded with stereotypes of who we are, what we are, how we think, and we've kind of been put into these boxes as to who we are. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel that it's important to combat that in your work? And if so, what are you doing to make sure that you're combating those narratives? And we can start with Dedren. Haha.
Good question, and I think of it as a twofold response. One, I think that as a creator, I try to, as best and as authentically as I can, to tell the stories that I want to see, whether or not that's either combating a stereotype or confronting that head on, or just simply telling a great story that I'm asking that reader that might have those type of preconceived notions of stereotypes, that they have to meet us on this certain place to be able to really understand and appreciate us. You're absolutely right. There is not a day that goes by where, particularly us as Black creatives, are probably approached or see or have some type of intersect with something that isn't as isn't, in other words, not uplifting, but I think it's not coming from an authentic place, whether or not that's in jest or in meaning. We see it all the time. So I think for me, like for my work with Sorgham and Spear, I absolutely tried to combat those types of stereotypes, because we see so much in mainstream media that even when the characters look like us, they're not created by us, they're not authored by us, and they're absolutely not owned by us. So any type of success or any type of further conversation that goes towards that, it's very easy for us to be left out of it. So I feel like in that sense that while it may not be an active thing that I'm trying to combat it, I think just our presence and our will to tell our stories our way, that we address that just by being there.
That's good. That was a good one. Good answer, sir. Okay, Afua, you could go.
Well, yeah, I think what ends up happening a lot of times is people will create things that they don't know about. And the remedy for that is creating what you know. So oftentimes, these warped, poorly formed, really flimsy premised characters are made, and that gets confused for reality. And I see it as an opportunity to authentically represent people that I know and love, or have done really diligent research about, and display them in characters and figures and body types and things like that I know are beautiful and strong and get misrepresented. So a lot like Dedren said, I don't know if I actively or even consciously do so when I create the work that I create. It's more of a decision to do research and work from things and sources that are a little more authentic than just a flimsy, cursory overview of what someone is like. And I think that does more to elaborate the different intricacies of what it means to be Black or whomever I'm deciding to represent. It's really easy to try and fit all of your diversity into one character and say, okay, well, that's the different person. Great. covered, moving it right along. But that's not what life is like. And I like my fiction and my artwork and the things that I make to reflect more of what I see and know rather than what I think it might be.
And Nuri?
Well, one thing we got to understand is that the media, entertainment, it is the oldest tool of warfare there is. It's the most the most powerful tool, propaganda. Wars are started off propaganda. See, in order to destroy you, I got to destroy your image first. Then the masses become desensitized. So now it's common to see Black people getting shot and killed because those stereotypes have been played over and over again in the media. The core of the Wildcard Chronicles stories revolves around the love two brothers have for their father and the love that father has for them. When you first open up issue 1, that's the first thing you see. The sons and hovering over them, it says legacy with their father's image. I needed people to see that first because when I grew up, all the Black fathers, I grew up in a predominantly Black area. All the Black fathers, most of all my own, were awesome fathers. So I didn't understand where that narrative was coming from. We're talking about Black people don't take care of their kids. That's nonsense. So I pushed that image, but like I said, and I think Afua said it best. We need to tell our stories, and that's one of the main reasons I got into this because I'm a firm believer. I watch a lot of this stuff from the big companies. I'm not knocking them, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. If you take Egypt and most of all Africa, which Egypt is in Africa, it's not the Middle East. You yank Africa out from under this thing, and 80% of the industry falls apart. You yank that out from under them, they got nothing. Because if you read their stories and then you read your own history, you see where they're pulling it from. But there's a silver lining because even though Black Panther was put out by one of the big companies and they got the money, it should also have shown us that we can do this. I think Black people alone went out there and gave Black Panther like the first day or the first weekend $37 million. We can pull this off. We can do
I
this.
gave them at least 1,000 of that. So
yeah, but it all boils down to, like I said, telling our own stories. Because just like Afua said, a lot of the stuff that they're pulling from our history isn't even fleshed out well.
Right.
A lot of them pull stuff and they're talking about stuff that they have no clue about.
Right. Jiba?
Okay. So yes, this question of stereotypes, so on and so forth. First of all, you got I don't know if you know this, but I've been doing this thing for like 20 plus years. Some of y'all may know this, right? And so I came in, I started my comic journey near the end of the 90s, the beginning, you know what I mean? The turnover before everything started. And when I created the Horsemen, there were a number of stereotypes that I was dismantling. I wasn't even thinking about the corporate too, all right? Because whatever on them, you know what I mean? I'm here creating my own world. I'm not worried about what they're doing. I'm worried about what I'm doing. And also what I was also concerned about is that when we talk about stereotypes, we also have to talk about stereotypes from Black creators as well, in terms of them wanting to create African-based content and not understanding the continent themselves. See, I'm lucky because I am what I like to call bicultural. You know, my mother's from West Africa, my dad is from the States, so on and so forth. So when I created the world of the Horsemen, I created it from that lens, right? And that lens is also a global lens. In terms of avoiding stereotypes, I've also been very lucky in my life that when people say, you know, I have friends of all races, no, I do. You know what I mean? These are my peeps. These are who I roll with. So when I'm creating in the world of the Horsemen, I'm creating the world that I know, which is a multicultural world, which is a brown world, which is an indigenous world. This world also has white folks in it. But at the same time, in order to keep it authentic, I think about my friends, and I think about how I want to represent them, right? And also being this bicultural cat, being a child of an immigrant, I understand the immigrant mentality. And these are the things that my friends from other cultures, this is the commonalities, you know what I mean, that we can draw upon, right? So whether I have a friend who's Korean or one of my best friends who's Indian, you know, we talk about some stuff about parents and mothers and things of that nature. It's like different language, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So in terms of, you know, dismantling stereotypes, luckily for me, I can just go to my pool, you know what I mean, of my people and make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm honoring them. And because I'm honoring them, I'm also delving into their culture. I'm also asking those questions. I'm also researching it in a real way. And at the very end of the day, in order to avoid stereotypes, it's very simple. Like, I write them as people. And that's one thing that I hear, you know, a lot of writers, and I've had people ask me, they're like, well, how do you write, you know, having men ask me, how do you write women? Or having white people ask me, how do you write black people? Or, you know, black person say, how do you write an Hispanic person? It's like, first of all, write them as a person. You know what I mean? Like, this is window dressing, right? You know what I mean? Culture and whatnot, that's the flavor that we add to our stories. That's the thing that makes it different. That's the thing that makes it unique. But at the end of the day, in terms of telling stories, we're telling stories from a human perspective. So we have to come at it from a human perspective. And once you do that, I think that allows for better storytelling and also contributes to the dismantling of stereotypes.
Man, these are some good answers. This is good. Michael?
Man, you want me to follow that? I'm gonna try. Here we go. So I never really thought about it when I was first getting into comic books. I was making my own stories and things like that. And the reason I never thought about it is because my world was a blended world. I had all types of people around me. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I went to the Columbus College of Art and Design. That school is a melting pot of variety and diversity. So I drew what I saw. My teachers always told me to draw from life, pull from reference and things like that. So when I made a comic book, I wanted to make it relatable. I drew the people that were around me. I drew how people look. I drew different body types. I drew different races and things like that. So it never occurred to me, but subconsciously it was already there. And then you get to a time frame where we are now, where so many more things are happening with protests and Black Lives Matters and you know, the violence and things that are going on. And I never thought that I needed to say anything about that because there's other people that will do that. I just want to make comics. I just want to tell my story, the story that I'm trying to tell. But with the recent events, man, it really struck me, and I was like, I got with my brother Danny Cooper, and we immediately worked out an issue of Hot Shot to talk directly to what was going on with the protests and Black Lives Matter. And you know, we have Hot Shot plotted for mainly plotted for 50 issues up front, and loosely plotted for 100. But we immediately, whatever we were doing for the 15th issue, we moved that out, and we said this is going to be our BLM issue. Designed a whole story just involving Hotshot because Hotshot he has a full costume on, so you can't tell he's a black guy underneath until his costume is battle damaged. And we really wanted to play with that and the police violence and things like that. So now that I'm writing these stories and that I've gotten older and you know I'm seeing these things happen, now I am taking credence in what I should put in there and how I should speak to these things and you know how I should put my ideals or beliefs into some of these stories that are going on. But I also don't want it to be all the time. I still want to tell stories, but I want to make it natural. The one thing that I really love about DC's Shazam, the movie, I didn't realize that was a diversity fest until the very end of the movie. Like I looked up and I was like, oh my God, they did it. They put all this diversity in the movie and they just slap you in the face with it. Because it just existed. It just was because that's our world. I was like, y'all better start taking notes. I mean, I know it wasn't the highest grossing film for y'all, but y'all did good right there.
I love Shazam. I love it. Yeah.
I thought they did good.
And I love the story they took it from. That's how you do it, you know.
All right, Tony.
All right. Well, my answer is twofold. On the one hand, I did consciously put my universe together a certain way. When I started, Milestone had left off, and when I got into it, my goal was to make comics so that our people could see our characters in action. At the time there wasn't a real big push for that in comics, so I made sure that at least all the comics that I did, I didn't create just for us. I created a full-blown universe that took time to build, piece by piece, block by block. So even in comics that did not include all Black people, you're going to find at least one or two powerful Black people or people of color in every book and every issue, because that is the world, like others have said, that's the world around us. And I've built my universe to be like the world around us. I've taken from my alter ego, friends that I know, different things, and they all have actually come to enjoy being characters per se in my universe. But unconsciously, there were some things where I tried to just come at it from a purely creative point of view and not try to bombard the fans with what I feel that they need to see, what they should see. But with that being said, certain circumstances, I could not interject my views into the things that I'm writing. For instance, Titan 4, which is the next issue out, is our BLM issue, and I just previewed the cover over on Facebook and Twitter just 2 days ago. And it's a powerful cover, and people are like, "Whoa, okay, you ready to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am," because I can't sit back and not say certain. I can't not be me on certain points and not interject how I feel about certain things into my comics. Whereas some things the South Side lets me do that a lot more frequently and a lot more openly. For instance, there's a scene in the South Side where the little scene at Howard University, which was a true scene, where you had certain people who took liberties with the precious university we have over there, thinking that it was cool to denigrate the students in the land itself. I addressed all of that, and you'll see a lot more of that in the comics as we go forward. But my universe is just it's a whole universe. It's everything you can think of, and it encompasses the big stuff. You have heroes, you have villains. We have people who look like us, but the stereotypes aren't there. We have Black astrophysicists. We have all kinds of things in our books that people are like, wow, okay, that's cool. That, you're not really just doing the same old, same old. Everything has a twist to it.
Nice.
And that's what I try to keep going and try to show everybody.
Nice. So y'all messed around and answered like 20 of my questions. Writing new stuff, man. Like this is good stuff, man. I saw a couple people just posting about how they're glad that they found this, or they're glad to be here. So I want you guys to know, like, this is really important information that we can share. And sometimes we influence other creators to come out of their shell. And so that's all good. So raise of hands, how many attended Virtuous Con this past weekend?
What? Yes and no.
What?
But in my alter ego, I'm a firefighter and a paramedic, and they called me in to work. I had to work a 40-hour shift, so I set up my booth, but I wasn't there to actually interject the fans. So I was a little upset behind that. And it just so happens this particular weekend was a weekend from hell. I mean, if I can't say that, excuse me, I'm sorry. But I didn't even get a chance to jump on and interject at any point during the weekend. But I had a booth there.
Well, that's acceptable. You have an acceptable reason.
Right.
All you other people, they didn't come at all.
Here's the thing about Virtuous Con. Number one, I didn't know if there was an invitation. Number two, I didn't know if we could just like log on and set up a booth, sir. So I'm just saying.
I know nothing about it.
This is all love, but they got another one coming in June. It was a really great thing. And Dedren also has one. So check out Subsume. Dedren is the man. We love Dedren out here in Atlanta and everywhere else. Also,
Yes, sir.
it better be. But I was asking about that because I had a fan who was asking, and she was like, "I love everything that you do. I want to support you guys. Like, how important is it for the people to understand what their money goes to when they purchase, or how valuable it is when they share your work?" So I had to get this question down because I want to make sure I'm asking it correctly. But basically, how do we get customers and fans and our people in our community to understand how important it is to support what we're doing? And I'm going to let Tony go first this time.
Well, that's huge, and even now I have a Kickstarter book out. Normally, I will put all my own funds into all my books, but certain books, like the Kickstarter books, I use those to gauge whether or not fans appreciate them, like them, or whatever, continue making them, or what have you. So that's a key. So if we get and I never set Kickstarter goals high. Everybody's like, well, why don't you set the goals higher? People, you set them so low, people think that the book isn't worth anything. Like, no, our books are worth something. I just want to gauge how people feel about the books. If it's not something that they have an interest in, they'll let you know. They'll pass right by it or keep it going. But for them to pledge, or for them to even purchase your books or share your materials and talk about it, that is huge. That makes all the difference in indie creators, because we don't have access to the big PR machines, the big 2 or even the big 5 have. So word of mouth, that means a lot, and that actually can make or break a comic. So we appreciate you even just sharing the book, talking to your friends about it, pledging or buying. That's a plus. We live for that. But even if you can't do that, we appreciate you, and you have my gratitude 100-fold. Thank you.
I just wanted to read this comment real quick. Firefighter, paramedic, and comic creator. Tony, you have my respect before.
Oh,
you got
cool.
Mike. I think he's trying to say Mike Watson levels of respect from me.
No, he's saying Miles Watson. That's my son.
Oh, okay.
We had a very good comic book weekend, and he loves my son to death.
It's
Okay.
It's a running joke at my fire station. They all tease me. They be like, "Oh, you making comics now? You big time. Your part-time job is your fire department job." I'm like, no, basically I've been loving comics since I was 5 years old. So this is a dream to me. I mean, this is something I could never have imagined me doing. But I love it, and I hope to be here for however long the fans want us here. But we'll keep making the books as long as they keep appreciating them and keep on moving.
And we appreciate that, man. We appreciate you. Nuri, you want to take a stab at that question?
Well, the support is huge for all of us. I mean, we wouldn't even have this platform right here without somebody supporting it, somebody believing in it, which is at the beginning, that's all we need. I mean, I understand, and we all understand there's an uphill battle. So all the support that the fans get, like he said, with sharing the book, even if it's just sharing the book, puts the word out there. And it's especially now because we don't have Comic-Cons right now. So, and so a lot of people are feeling it behind that. But what did we do? We didn't cry over spilled milk. We just organized, and we just adapted and overcame. I'm a Marine, so that's how we do. We just keep hard charging forward. We just keep hard charging forward, and kicking doors in.
Nice. I have an order. I have a method to this, so don't be looking at me like who's going next. I know what I'm doing. All right? So we gotta go to Jiba next.
Okay, so support. Well, what I'm doing right now, 4 pages, 16 bars, visual mixtape, is an example of that support, right? For me personally, I'm going to say me personally, then put it out into the meta world. But for me, one of the things that struck me and inspired me to do this was being a part of John Jennings and Damian Duffy's Black Comics, being a part of Black Comics and being a part of Black Comics Returns. What they did is that they put us all together, right? Those two books, like, pretty much created the community. You know what I mean? We weren't out here any longer in the wilderness talking about where's other Black artists, where's other Black artists. There was this book there, right? And that was sort of like the light to me. It's like, yeah, we're part of a community. You know what I mean? Like, people want to talk about Black comics as a business. Really, it's an art movement, y'all. I mean, this is like hip hop. This is like the Harlem Renaissance happening right now, right? And so, you know, part of spreading the word is us supporting each other, us spreading the word out there. And then I want to take a little moment to talk about, you know, being on FB and being in some of these groups, you know what I mean, who say that they're about Black comics and Black comic creators, but 9.95 times out of 10, they keep talking about the corporate too, right? And they keep talking about, and this goes back in sort of like the stereotype areas and whatnot. Like, I also see them creating these characters that are like, that are the worst thing that they talk about. They are like, you know, Batman in blackface, Superman in blackface, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And they're looking at they're looking at the corporate too for respect, right? And I keep hearing them talking about, where are we? We need a new milestone, blah, blah, blah. And the thing about it is, and one of the reasons why I created 4 pages, 16 bars, is to show everybody, like, yo, we are here. You know what I mean? Like, comics are hip hop, right? Like, it's like hip hop wasn't just Def Jam. Hip hop was Def Jam and No Limit and, you know, and Death Row and Tommy Boy and Raucus and Cash Money. You know what I mean? It's a culture, right? It's a community. It's a culture. And as we're building this culture, it's ultimately going to generate more commerce, right? But in order for it to move forward, and I'm throwing this out to the fans, you know what I mean, is that you have to step away from the corporate too for representation. And you have to actually look and see the stuff that's happening right now. I mean, look at this squad that we've got right now in this group right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like looking at Greg, been down with Tuskegee Heirs since it came out. Dedren, that Sorghum and Spear is dope. I can't wait to have it in there. Afua, mwah. You know what I mean? Tony, you know what I mean? All of us have been doing this, right? And all of us have been doing this with mad skill, mad aplomb. We have been creating work that is, in all honesty, in a lot of ways, it's better than the corporate too. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to representation, we're not checking off a box. This is who we are. You see what I mean? And then on top of that, last bit, sorry, we are part of a tradition, right? I see some of these new cats come out. They want to talk about, like, I'm going to be the first Black. I'm going to be the first. Nah, B. George Harriman got you beat with Crazy Cat. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Orms got you beat with Torchy. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, all Negro comics got you beat, right? Right. We are part of a tradition. You know what I'm saying? We are part of that group. We are part of the tradition with Milestone, with Big City Comics, with Tribe, all of that. So we are part of the movement. So instead of trying to be the big man on campus, which you're not going to be a part of the community. And being a part of that community is going to grow the community. It's going to grow the culture. And ultimately, it's going to grow the commerce. And I see someone asking a question, has a POC anthology been considered? That is what 4 pages, 16 bars of visual mixtape is. Like, put that money down and get it. Like, you're talking, again, this is exactly the thing that I'm talking about, right? This is a thing about people walking in with blinders on. And I see people still trying to do this, an anthology series. I'm like, yo, it's like I'm on the 6th volume of this, right? It's like, just open your eyes and look around. This is what's happening.
And to that question, also Fair Square Comics, I was actually a part of the Noir is the New Black anthology that I think they're mailing them out now. I know they're available for digital, so you could go to Fair Square Comics, FAIR, and it's awesome. I got to read it. I was like, David Walker is my hero. I'm just telling y'all. David knows this, but I was just happy to have a story in the book with David Walker. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, this ain't about me. Okay, Afua, you are up next.
Well, when it comes to sharing the work and supporting creators and what the money goes to specifically, these large companies have tons of resources, millions of dollars, billions of dollars. So that means marketing, utilities, employees, hiring the best there is and getting them to make their products for a fraction of what they're going to redeem on that investment. So by supporting and sharing and doing the research to find independent creators, you are enabling small businesses to thrive and become larger businesses and become the media. And that's something that's, I think, really vital, because it's like a food source. If you want something different, if you want something that reflects more of what it is that you want to see in your media, you're going to have to change your diet. And there are things that large companies do very, very well. I mean, with the example of Black Panther, it was a beautiful film, wonderfully cast. I could make a film presently. That doesn't mean I won't be able to ever, but presently I wouldn't be able to hire those kinds of actors and have those kinds of resources presently. But they do. And these large companies are like giant ships. They are able to travel really far distances, carry a lot of people, and cover a lot of ground. But they might not be able to get a lot of the nuance and the stories that we want to see, because they're trying to appeal to such a large audience. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to go too far in one direction and feel like they're only speaking to a minority or a very specific group. But then what that ends up doing is completely taking away any of the flavor. It's kind of like, okay, well, I don't want this slice of the pie to be too spicy, because some people don't like spicy. Some people don't like, things that are too savory, not too sweet. So we have to kind of make it a little closer to bland. That way, no one's senses will be offended. We don't have to worry about that. We get to create what it is that we want. And with your support, we are able to do that more often than other things. I just launched my first successful Kickstarter for Aquarius, the Book of Myr. That's coming out through Image Comics. And prior to that, I felt like a lot of the projects that I worked on, even though they were fantastic and for really, really, big companies, I was working to work. I would make enough money to make it to the next gig and pay my bills and things like that, but I couldn't invest in myself. They weren't paying me enough for me to not work on their projects and invest in myself. So Kickstarter, aka community support, enabled me to say, okay, I'm going to take a break on making other people's dreams come true and allow myself to believe in my own. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. You've got to create when you don't feel like it. You've got to be your own boss. You've got to give yourself breaks. You've got to be a graphic designer, a promoter, learn how to negotiate your contracts. And if there are things that you don't know, you have to hire out. And every bit of sharing and support helps make that possible. So thank you for the pen and paper and coffee.
I would just like to say, I've been telling you forever to do a Kickstarter. Thank you for doing the Kickstarter. And I'm happy to see those beautiful results from said Kickstarter.
She crushed it. She crushed it.
True. He is.
But you know what? I wasn't worried whether or not Afua was going to crush it.
That was easy money, man.
Like in a sense, like partly in a sense, I think, if I may, well, with you doing the stuff for the bigger companies, one of the things that helped out is that they got your name out there, right? So that they got your name out there, they got your weight up, and then of course with Lovecraft Country, you know what I mean? It's like you made great strategic professional moves so that when the time came for you to do your book, which by the way I backed, which I'm waiting for because I have been waiting to get some pure Afua Richardson, stuff from you. So I'm looking forward to that. But the fact that you did those projects, they did help you in sort of generating the buzz for you to have this successful Kickstarter, so you can chill and work on your own thing for a minute. You know what I mean? So, mad kudos to you and working the game. That's part of the art hustle. That's part of the art life, right? It's diversity.
Very true.
Like Wu-Tang Financial, right?
Yeah, I didn't allow these companies to be my goal. Right. I love X-Men. I love Storm. I love, Wonder Woman, but I don't own it.
Right.
And some people's objectives is to get a job at these companies thinking that's it. That's the goal. But that wasn't my goal. I've always wanted to tell my own stories, but for a really long time, man, I'm thinking about it now. Like I've been working, really hard, just regular jobs since I was 14 or 15. To working was not just like, oh, well, I want some sneakers. It was like I had to pay rent at 14. It was a tiny little place that was the size of the closet, but I didn't have that support around me. So I had to tell myself, listen, whatever I do, I better do it really well because my circumstances are not going to change unless I have skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to change for me. And if I want to draw, then I have to get a job that supports that vision. So I don't know how to use a computer, but I will get the secretary job and I will learn. So all of my lunch breaks while I was a receptionist was spent, with my little packed lunch and learning Photoshop on the company computer and making sure I incorporated it with my work. Or, I was a musician, I would gig, and I taught myself graphic design because that's what was needed for logos and flyers and a website, those things that facilitate my artwork. And I'm like, okay, it's not enough to just draw.
Right.
I have to be a business.
Right.
And so I think it made me hesitant to take risk. And I had doubts. I'm not going to say I didn't have doubts, but I needed to believe that if I invested in myself, that people would invest in me too.
Yep.
And working on Lovecraft Country and just being a part of that production in person, and then seeing the director, the executive producer, the props department saying, you know what, just do whatever you want. they're trusting my vision. They had the playground that they wanted me to operate in. They were like, just make it cool. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on. People who I don't know, if they believe in me, why don't I believe in me?
Mhm.
So it took me ugly crying at the mention of my name on a TV show in order for me to say I'm going to do this finally.
And you know, like that part though, that's the stuff that, like I always talk about inspiring the next generation. And like when people see, like, you have no idea, like when people see you sitting at a table, any of us like sitting at a table, they see us on TV or wherever, it's like that kind of stuff automatically. That's all I ever think about is, I wish I could have seen somebody like me when I was 10. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, okay, this is real. This is doable. I want to get Michael. He's busy drawing his tail off, but I want to get him on that question. You know, how important is it that our people, our community knows what's happening when they're supporting us?
Support is damn near everything. The recent events or things that I've done on social media would not be possible without support. Chat and Draw, having over 100 episodes, that wouldn't be possible without the indie community. Over 90% of those episodes feature indie comic book creatives. And then people tuned into those episodes and supported those people's Kickstarters, which in turn supported my own Kickstarter for Chat and Draw. Freestyle Comics, we did FSK Day. We normally do that in person at a comic book shop, but COVID said, no, you ain't doing nothing. So we went virtual, and instead of asking for, a bunch of money, we just said, hey, can you donate $1 to Freestyle Comics to help us make comic books? And we raised over $800 in one day. I streamed for 12 hours straight, but but that was people. And I mean, literally, people stayed with us the whole 12 hours. I mean, Greg, you were there. Some of you guys were already on the show with us as we did those panels. Something like that is not possible without community support. I try to preach it and say it all the time when I have people on my show, and I say, I got 3 rules about Kickstarter. Rule 1, find a pledge you like, donate, get whatever it is that you're trying to get on that Kickstarter. Easy. Number 2, I know times is hard, but even if you give $1 to this Kickstarter, it helps. Every single dollar helps these creators stay at home creating. That gives them power and the ability to do the thing they're trying to do, the thing that you enjoy. And I know some of y'all ain't got jobs. Some of y'all sitting at home and y'all hurting. But can you give us a share? A share is just as important as that $1. Somebody advocating for me, saying, hey, that guy makes that Hot Shot book, that's fire. You need to pick it up. People will listen to other people before they actually listen to me as a creator about my own book. So support is magnificent. It plays a huge role in the success of indie creators. And I would like to personally shout out all the indie community because I've seen it this year. I've seen like virtually all of us helping each other in some way, form, or faction. That we have been sharing each other's stuff. We've been networking, communicating with each other, appearing on streams with each other, crossing over characters. I mean, support is key. It's part of the formula.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago, word of mouth is the best advertisement. It's the best marketing. Because if somebody likes you and trusts you and you enjoy my book, then they're probably going to, go off of your word. Like you said before mine. Dedren, what you got?
Well, I think it's all sustainable and the reality of what we're dealing with as indie comic creators, particularly, Black indie comic creators is, as said, not only is that support part of our community, it's part of our culture, right? I think it's what we look at as, that's really the currency that drives us. Right. Not even, obviously we all appreciate what I like to call, that foldable support is absolutely key. Right. We have to have funds and access to be able to build and do those things. So absolutely that counts. But I think because our community is so small and so intimate that when you see somebody not only just liking and sharing your work, but when you see that you can be a part of a sustained space that you're seeing others being, building in that. We're all putting into not only a cultural currency, but a legacy. I mean, I think we're in that same sense, that's the support that I think is really at the core of all this. Likes and shares are great. And so is, picking up our book and making those financial donations. But I think a greater understanding and appreciation of the renaissance that's going on right now. Obviously, the people who have paved the way and given us the chance to be in this space. And then looking forward to making sure that we're expanding, and not only are we opening doors, but we're breaking down walls and building new tables for the new generations to come. I think this is the support that we need. I think we can just look at this podcast right now. We've got equal to talent to any type of name brand place you want to throw at us. I mean, we've got that on hand and today. But what we need the support of is making that sustainable space for tomorrow. Because there's things such as technology and other things are great. It also gives a chance for the same people that it could help to be marginalized. And so, as we look at the Black creative experience in some, we have to understand that support is multifaceted. And so when we look at support financially or support by word of mouth, those are absolutely part. But we've got to look at the support of the community in some. And not that it needs value, it needs a valuation from, the people on high. But I think the people that we're wanting to reach, as long as they understand, that we're building it for them, and in many cases not for ourselves, that's the support that we want to see. And I mean, in kind of the way that I've always looked at it is, there's so many of us that would be worthy of one person's support, but all of us, I think, are worthy of the community support. And it just kind of makes that same sense. Like I always say, man, we can't sharecrop our dreams. We cannot do that. We're not here to pay bills and die. We are here to tell the stories within our hearts and minds and be a part of the fabric of this culture and this legacy that's being Black in America. And I think comics is a great tool for that. But I think even more so, it's a leverage point for us as individuals to have our own creative destinies. And that's the place we need the biggest support.
That is beautiful, brother.
Drop our dreams. I like that.
I usually think it's poor form to answer your own questions. I'm just going to be real quick.
Please.
I have this daughter, and she goes to college. And I got to pay like rent and tuition and all that stuff. So like when you buying my stuff, like you supporting my business, like and I know, I know other creators have kids and, so it's not just, it's just like when, you go to other small businesses, you are like really breathing life into families, this year. With COVID, I don't want to. This is so good. I don't want to bring up that raggedy COVID, but everybody on here has felt the impact from COVID. I see y'all at conventions all over the country all the time, so I know that directly impacts my money. But this year, like all the support and people that have been going out of their way to support Black businesses. It doesn't have to be me. Because like Dedren said, when you're supporting, like when you're pouring into the community, it's all coming around. Like me and Dedren are working on something. We're taking our time with it. But, it's like COVID, I got to start collabs with a bunch of people that I've been wanting to work with. So, yes, I'm going to lighten it up just a minute. And I'm telling you why, because I was on a panel last week, and there's a bunch of like young whippersnappers. And I feel like we're a little bit more of a seasoned group, right? So they were like talking about what's the first animated, like representation did you see? And I'm like, Rickety Rocket? And then everybody's looking at me like, what is a Rickety Rocket? So I'm going to ask a similar kind of question. But I just want to know, like, give me a character that really resonated with you, like a melanated character or somebody that didn't fit. And I'm talking about when you were little, something that sparked you and brought you, like at least initiated and let you think this is possible for you. And we're going to start with, I didn't get this one planned out. Michael.
I knew you was gonna pick me. I said this dude.
Well, why you ain't just say it then?
Because I wanted to get the benefit of the doubt. When you did this, I said this about to be. I was sitting there thinking of the question right there and trying to think of a character that really spoke to me at that time as a kid. Dude, I watched so many dang cartoons.
Right?
Same.
You know, as a child, you're almost oblivious to that kind of thing. But I guess the first, for me, melanated character I saw that I was like, oh, snap. Like, I could be a Ghostbuster? Winston.
True.
Nice.
Like,
Winston was cool.
it's not like Winston did anything crazy or, you know, really spoke to the culture. He was just a dude of color doing a proton pack. And he was out here busting ghosts. And, like, I was like, cool. I got a proton pack that year for Christmas. Everything. Like, I was all about it. And the more I think about it, dude, like, really, that was my first toy with a black person. Because I had all the Ghostbuster stuff and stuff like that. And, like, really, that was the first character of color that I had as an action figure. And I would have Winston driving the whip, too. Ecto 1, he was always pushing. So.
True.
Nice. All right, Dedren, you are up.
For me, it was Nichelle Nichols on the Nickelodeon version of Star Trek when it came on. So it was a cartoon version of that, and I remember particularly that show coming on. And you know, everybody knows Panther was black, right? You know, there was some other characters that you know we used to assimilate and you know bring into our culture because we didn't see that representation throughout. You know, for every roadblock there was a Hot Wing, right, from the Silverhawk, right? It was just like there never was no balance. But,
Bro,
know,
we try to act like we try not to bring up Hot Wing. It was the worst.
But it's just take a step back. That's what we were dealing with. The black character on Silverhawks was named Hot Wing, right? So,
Oh God.
but anyway, the idea of this eloquently spoken, like black woman in space that was smart, you know, would take over and wasn't just a background character. Like there were shows about her, things like this, and then just that voice, and because it was voiced by the characters from the original Star Trek at that point, that it made me want to be smart. Like these people were in space and solving problems and doing math and science, and it was like if I can be smart, maybe I could go meet this lady in space. And I've been chasing her ever since. And it's just been one of those things where it's been it was just a perfect segue of representation, and it just opened me up just to science fiction and fantasy, which still is my one of my favorite genres overall. So definitely that.
Gotcha. I'm reading some of the comments. Ishmael said bulletproof vest from Cops.
Bulletproof, yeah.
Oh man.
And then Keithan, he says Luke Cage, kinda. Shout out to Keithan. He's awesome. Y'all need to know him. We don't have enough time. We need to. Yeah. Anyways, all right, Tony, what you got?
All right, cartoon character wise, I'm gonna go with Black Vulcan from the Super Friends, only because
Onesie Man.
Yeah, exactly. But he was the first black character that I saw who was able to stand with the Superman, Batman, the pantheon of characters, and hold his own. He was considered an equal to them. Now, as far as comic wise, I can give you the issue and the character Miles Duncan, Teen Titans 44, got it off the rack. Mel got tired of being the token member of the Teen Titans. He spit truth. He was like, nah, I'm just as good as y'all. He became a character called a Guardian, who was the old throwback character. But that was my favorite comic book moment because it showed, okay, he was like, I'm not going to be second fiddle to y'all. I'm just as good as each one of y'all. So I'm going to show you what I can do. He came out to be his own hero. So I like that.
Nice. Nuri, what you got?
Well, I was kind of a late bloomer, right, with comics, but in my younger days, and I watched a lot of TV, like Justice League, stuff like that, but it really didn't resonate with me until Public Enemy fell into my hands. Hip hop album cover artwork. that black man in the Target. My first album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold It Back. Didn't Fear the Black Planet. The artwork was amazing to me. That something about that black man being in that Target was impressive to me. So it started that rebellion in me. So the first comic, believe it or not, the first comic I bought that really drove it home, that put the seal on it, was I think that was around the first time my early years in the Marine Corps. Spawn was it for me. He was black, I was black. He's a Marine, I was a Marine. So it took off from there. And then to see the story behind it, I mean, McFarlane defied the big tooth and became a juggernaut in his own right doing it. So I was like, I can do this. But I'm all over the world traveling, participating in Operation Sea Signal, Operation Restore Democracy. Then the story started building. Then I came home. I became president of the Motorcycle Club. I'm an arms dealer. So then I started to draw from those things. So, but yeah, in the beginning, it was Public Enemy that did it for me. I'm sorry.
Good.
Their album covers were fire.
Thank you for the service, man.
And Afua.
Okay, so I have a list. I think the first black cartoon character that I ever really remember seeing was the Jackson 5. Like, they had a cartoon, and I wanted to be Michael Jackson when I was in preschool.
Who didn't?
Yeah.
I had the doll. I had like the 12-foot doll right next to my like titanium steel transformer. You could tell me nothing. So it was the Jackson 5, and then Gaia from Captain Planet.
Oh.
And then Shayna from Gem. So and also Panthro, even though he wasn't.
Panther was black.
Yes, indeed. Panther was black.
Panther is black.
We universally
He is
recognize
blue
Panther.
black. That is why he is colored that way. He is blue black.
Panthro, Jazz from Transformers.
You know,
That's true.
This is just.
It's
voiced by
true.
Grandpa Huxtable. Panthro is black.
Yes.
I just want
It's
to take a
true.
second. Morgan Iverson, this is what I'm talking about. These whippersnappers. He giving all these characters that came out like in 2008. Stop it, Morgan. We this grown people right now.
You know, I'm gonna do a deep cut when it comes around my time. I'm gonna go deep. All right.
Uh-oh.
But anyway.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that because I know we're pressed for time. But yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up in a minute. I just wanted to get this one out. Jiba, what you got?
Okay, so growing up, right? I mean, it was interesting. Like, a Black Vulcan resonated with me. What was it? There was another Filmation cartoon, The Sentinel 7. There was a sister on there. You know, I also remember Super Stretch and Micro Woman. But the character that really set me on the path, right, did not start in a comic book. It was actually a play that came out, I think it was around 9 or 10. And the play was called Warp. And it was a play that was riffing off of Doctor Strange. It was riffing, like the Frank Bruner Doctor Strange, the cosmic stuff and whatnot. And the hero, Lord Cumulus, was played by a black actor. And the heroine Sargon was played by a black actress, right? And the villain, Prince Chaos, was played by a white dude, okay? And I see this play, and, it gave me the black superhero, and it also gave me the cosmic, which kind of was an influence on me ultimately creating the Horsemen. Now, when Warp came to comics as First Comics, when First Comics Chicago company picked out in the 80s, right? They completely whitewashed Lord Cumulus. But because of the nature of Warp and whatnot, they kept the black Lord Cumulus as like an earlier incarnation of the character. But that was the cat right there. As a young person, that was the one that influenced me. And I'm like, yeah, black superheroes, what? I could do whatever I want with this. And that was the thing that set me on the path.
Man,
That's wonderful.
real quick,
good.
I want to just give an honorable mention because as everybody talked and gave these great characters, I did think about the one time it really got my mind inquiring. He-Man, because he was a regular white dude as the prince. He got that power.
He got that
a lot of melanin in there. I always
That's tannin boots and coconut oil. That's what that is.
I'm just saying, he got pretty wild, man. He got wild when he got the power.
Hey, man, I remember like taking characters and being like you said. So G.I. Joe was everything for me, and I remember if you had some melanin at all, like Spirit, I was like, Spirit is black. Storm Shadow was black because he was cool, and you couldn't prove me wrong mostly. You know what I mean? But I will say, I feel
Destro
like
was black for me. Destro was black.
Destro is definitely black.
Destro's black, no doubt.
And got the line for a Cobra too. He got the Baroness. So like he did it. He did the thing. Anyway.
I always people leave off, and this was the first action figure, like black action figure I got was Stalker, and it's a terrible name now because but back in like 1981, Stalker wasn't as aggressive of a word as it is now. And Stalker, he was like, he had the beret, he was cool looking, and he was actually really black. And
right.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough a couple of years ago, I found like a huge, like old one. So I got him sitting downstairs. But
nice.
Yeah, that was it for me. All right, so
what about Roadblock?
I'm sorry?
What about Roadblock? G.I. Joe?
Stalker was before Roadblock. Like Stalker was before they did the thing where the arm did like this.
Right. But on top of that, Roadblock was a gourmet chef too, man. He was.
So here's my issue with Roadblock is that he was like always trying to rhyme, and he didn't have bars like that. So I was like, bruh, we don't need all of that, man. Just got muscle, Doug. Beat him up. So the last thing we're gonna do, because we are way over, and I got lost. This has been awesome. I was honored when they asked me to, help to moderate or whatever, but this has been an awesome chat, I believe. The last thing, just really quick, y'all, tell people what you're working on. And I know our IGs are floating down here, but you can shout it out. Also, just let the people that are watching, people go follow these people. They're awesome. They're amazing. They're giving back to the community, and they're, giving of themselves to make this art. So let's go. I'm not gonna start with Mike. He be tripping. So let's go backwards. Jiba, you got it first.
Okay, so currently the Kickstarter for 4 pages, 16 bars, the visual mixtape, volume 6, The Feel, is happening till March 17th. That's what's popping. Also, on the flip side, the Horsemen is in museums. The Horsemen Divine Intervention is part of a virtual exhibition through Michigan State University. The Horsemen Book of Olaroon is part of an upcoming long-term installation at the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art. So that's popping up. In addition to that, just finished up writing some role-playing games. I'm out here doing some album covers, like doing some more comic book stuff and whatnot. So you'll see some more Horseman stuff, hopefully by end of the year. So that's what's happening.
Cool. Dedren?
Oh. So yes, main thing is working on the next phase of Sorgham and Spear, as well as working on a couple of games, same little tabletop game, as well as our next phase for Turnkey. Working on a few other releases with Subsume just as an imprint, and I'm sure with a couple of folks like yourself and Afua. I think we got some things down the road in 2021, and yeah, just overall, in June, we'll do a creative Juneteenth event to try to just celebrate all the cool stuff going on in our community, and just here to support everyone else. So thank y'all.
Tony?
All right. First of all, I want to thank you all for putting me on a panel with you all. I'm a fan before I'm a creator, and I follow each and every one of your careers. So I'm honored to be here among you. The things I'm working on, I have a Kickstarter called Southside. It's a crime noir book, advanced thriller. It's sitting at 50% right now. So if you get a chance, go check it out on Kickstarter. It's a good book. We got a good crew. Also, if we are successful, we're trying to raise about $1,200 in our last 9 days. If we do make it, the entire team, minus myself, gets a bonus. We're going to do it off the break because they worked hard on this, and I appreciate them. Also, I'm fulfilling 2 other books right now, Untitled Chapter 3 and Regulators 2. And I am starting Starline number 5 and 6 concurrently. That is a book where I feature all of our characters of color and our creators of color, showcasing their works and their talents. And I'm also doing Cosmos 6 through 12 concurrently. So I'm gonna have that for y'all. I'll probably do a big Kickstarter soon. And then I got like 3 other projects I'm not gonna say because I always like to have an ace up my sleeve, keep the fans who support our books happy and surprised.
Gotcha. And Nuri?
Well, I'm gonna keep it real short. Right now, we're working on our Wildcard Chronicles issue 3, which will also debut some new characters, including Pinky Triple X from the adult industry field. Along and I'm also working behind the scenes of with Blunt Force Media. So I'm working behind the scenes on the 3 shows, including the Moana Nui podcast, the Lion's Den, and the Big Duke 6 show.
Cool. And it's Afua.
Well, you can check me out at Afua Richardson. That's AFUA Richardson.com. And the pre-orders are available for Aquarius, the Book of Myr, issue 1. You can also ask your local comic shop to pick it up. It will be released May 19th for Mermay, just in time. Man, you can follow me on IG at Dr. Fu. That's DOCTAFOO. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter under my name, Afua Richardson.
Gotcha. And Michael, you're gonna have to speak one last time, and then you can draw like all night.
I got to multitask, man.
You ain't lying.
Working on wrapping up the Kickstarter. I just started delivering stuff today, keeping with the Short Fuse Media Group quote that we always deliver. T-shirts have gone out. They've been ordered and shipped out and things like that. Also working on Hotshot number 11. 10 is already done. That's getting pencils and inks are done. That's getting colored. My very next Kickstarter project will be Hotshot Trade Volume 1. One book that is a secret book that will come out after that, and then Hotshot Trade Volume 2. So doing a lot of stuff over at the FSK house.
Can I say one quick thing, Greg, Moana? Also, please, y'all pick up Jiba's book because it's important for the community as a whole. And also, I want to plug something I have in his book. I have a story called Soulmate. It's a story about Black love, and it's unique. It has a nice little twist to it, but it's fire. Everything in that book, all the creators in that book, they put 110% into it. Please support the community and pick that book up.
Yes, and I'm gonna second that. I have a story in there, The Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea, Fishing Day with Papa Ray. It's a children's book, so we have something for the entire family in this anthology. This tonight is just a flavor of what you can see with the community, but you definitely want to check out this anthology because Jiba is just showing love to all of the creators out here. And as he mentioned, he's been in this business for a long time. And so he has been through the ups and downs and he's still going. So shout out to him.
Let me know.
Gotta make some music for it too.
I wanted to also mention for anybody that's watching, because I don't know, you guys have heard of the Access Guide to the Black comic book community.
Yep.
Joseph Illidge,
Yes.
and the guys, they're putting that together. I think I don't know if it's released yet, but I think it'll be. No, it is. It says it hits stores on the 17th.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They got us in there a little bit, but that's another thing. If you guys are looking, like, people are actually trying to consolidate, so we all know where to go to find like some of this stuff, and hopefully that movement just keeps growing. I like that they consider it to be like a green book, because the green book, if you guys how important that was, that's where they're trying to go with this. Definitely check that out too. It should be hitting comic stores. It should have already hit actually. So that's all I got.
I did want to shout out Moana and Dana and the podcast.
Yes.
Fantastic work, and they are the official sponsor of Chat and Draw Season 4.
Yay!
That season premiere will be March 31st, which will be actually 1 year of Chat and Draw. And I got
Congrats.
Yeah. And I got these ladies coming on March 1st to kick off celebrating powerful ass women in the month of March.
That's right.
Nice.
Let's see. Did we hit Dedren? Did you, Dedren? Did you give your contact information?
Oh yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think he was first this time.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure everybody got the join.
Yeah.
Look at Danny. Danny want to know about these sponsorships. Danny, you need to get it together, Danny.
Danny, Morgan, those are two of my favorite guys. They're two of my favorite guys. I love those dudes.
Yes, team spoiler alert in the house.
Yeah.
They are so much fun.
All the time.
Yes. All right, y'all. Well, we want to say thank you so much to all of our guests. We are honored to have some time with you guys. Shout out to Greg again for coming on and being our guest moderator. He did such an amazing job with this panel. It was so nice to sit in the background and just listen to y'all. Thank you to all of our listeners live and on the replay. We really appreciate your comments. Feel free to keep dropping things. Definitely check out the links in the thread. We linked up all the projects that we talked about. And if I missed anything, guys, feel free to come back and drop your links in the stream. You know, it's all love on the Moana Nui podcast. Feel free to promote and do whatever you need to do on any of the streams. With that said, I think that's it for tonight. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we have a last comment. Does anybody have a Twitch stream? If you have a Twitch stream, can you drop them in the comments?
Yep.
I don't have one, but people are telling me and Marcus to get one. So,
Yes, definitely.
We've been thinking about it. I just don't like. I don't think y'all want to watch us play video games, man. Y'all might like lose some of y'all's respect that y'all may have for us because we turn into animals. We've been doing this for. Huh?
You guys can literally play video games on Twitch, and Marcus could be drawing on Twitch.
Right. Just like we used to do when we be coming up with concepts. I was playing Grand Theft Auto, and he was like, "I want to play." No, keep drawing. You're doing good. And so I would, some of that back. Take us back to where we started.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. Well, once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel, like our page. We're on both YouTube and Twitch. And I think that's it. Dana,
And
any
of
last
course,
words?
if you want to replay any of the stuff that you heard today, you will see it on YouTube and Twitch. So if you're following us on either one of those, you can go back and watch this whole episode to take back in a lot of this knowledge that all of our guests provided. Of course, follow our guests on their social media. Definitely support their Kickstarters and stuff so we can continue to bring those characters and those stories that so many want to hear. So we like to thank all of our guests for coming tonight and being a part of our very first panel on the Moana Nui podcast and the first of many.
Yay.
I just had one more thing because I just kind of noticed Atlanta is deep up in this mud.
Yeah.
Hey.
Dang. Like 4 of us on this thing.
We tight too.
That's what's up. Yeah, DC in the house too. Okay. All right, y'all. Wherever you are, represent Black comics. Support your creators. We appreciate y'all. Take care, and we will talk to you guys next time.
All right.